What's going on? Glad to be on.
Same. Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you. Your excitement is just spewing through the phone. It's going to be a great night. Let's continue on. Next, we have the man who is single-handedly responsible for the face paint shortage of 2016. I'm talking about the man, Christian Noir. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm highly offended at that statement.
I don't see why. What? Okay, well, all right. Well, I'm glad you're here. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have the man who could be considered the cottage cheese of professional wrestling. You either love him or you hate him, Kingdom James. What's up, man?
Cottage cheese. What did I do to you? My God, man. I'm fine.
All right. I've been thinking about that line all day. I'm excited. I delivered it with such, precision, and it was great.
Zest. Such
Yes.
You delivered it with such pineapple.
That was joie de vivre. That was chef's kiss, my friend. Well, show's already off the rails.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back on track. All right, tonight, guys, we have a huge show planned. But we're going to start off by bringing a team. We're going to be talking to a member of the tag division. We're going to be talking to Warhorse, Pat the Bruiser, Crosshairs Kelly. What's up, guys?
Not much, just taking it easy on a Sunday. Yep.
All right.
How are you, Justin? How are you?
I'm fantastic. Let's talk about you guys, though. You are 2-0 in the Fight Underground. That is that's pretty impressive. Even so, you put a member of OSHA Inc. on the shelf. He's not coming back.
Womp womp. Not our problem. Not our problem.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, yeah, you already.
I want to chime in for that. I'm glad that you did. It's always good to make a statement. Being a tag team coming into a company, I've been super impressed with you guys. Dash and I have teamed for many years, and both have talked before the show today about how impressive you guys are. I'm giving you guys a nod, man. You guys are gonna go far in Fight Underground.
Appreciate that. We really do. Appreciate it. We honestly we feel like we're at the point now where we're just trying to just get better. We want to learn from everybody. Like every Fight Council member that gets at it, we try to go back and watch some of their stuff, and then we watch all kinds of tag matches just because we want to pull and make things our own. So we're hungry to be better. So,
all right, that sounds good.
Thank you.
What I want to know is who's your guys' inspiration? I don't know if I've asked you this question before. I usually ask it in the Young Lions segment, but growing up inside of wrestling or outside of wrestling, who was your mentor, and how do you guys transition that into the wrestling world?
For me, I take a lot from The Undertaker. I was a big fan of Taker, just for him being so big and be able to move. But I was also a big fan of The Flash and the Talk. So Jericho, Rock, as I got older, I started to appreciate some more of the older wrestlers. So, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, the Brainbusters, big fan of the Brainbusters, Sully and Arn. Just the guys that didn't mind, getting their tail kicked, but also could put up one hell of a fight. That's for me. That was part of it for me. It's just the lights and stuff are cool, but that fist to mouth was always more entertaining for me.
All right. And Pat, I know you're a man of few words, but if you'd care to add.
Yeah. Yeah. Vader, JBL, Stan Hansen. Just guys who just got nasty and fight. That's just about what it is. That's always what I draw inspiration from. I've always been a physical contact guy, playing multiple sports in my life. All physical, all where it's legal to inflict pain. And that's just, those are the styles I like to take from.
Very angry man.
All right. Now, guys, I see you're sitting there in your car. I can only assume it's a rather large vehicle. Now, I got to ask, are you on your way home from the gym or are you on your way to the bar?
Actually, on our way back training today. We had training today. So we did some training, then made our way back home.
All right. Noir, you over there? I'm sure you got something to ask these two large gentlemen.
Oh, certainly. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know when lots of tag teams start, some guys mesh, some guys don't mesh. Sometimes it takes for a while for people to really come into their own together. But just for you two alone, when did y'all realize, this is it? This is, we're going to mesh perfectly together, and this is a dynamic we could both work with?
For me, I would say we at one point in time we were both in separate tag teams. So he was tagging with his brother, and I was tagging with another brother we trained with. And the guy that I was tagging with couldn't make a show, and he was free, so we tagged together and just kind of like it was a fun trip. The match was great. I mean, as far as like the fisticuffs portion of it, and like that was just kind of like the seed planet, I guess, for me. And so I got hurt because I was trying to get us booked for a tag tournament. I got hurt, but by the time I came back, they were still interested in us tagging. So we got an opportunity in that. I mean, his partner kind of bailed, my partner bailed, so we were like just the perfect combination of events to get us the mold. And like as soon as it happened, because we trained together, so it was just we were already comfortable with each other. We just spent more time together with each other now, just being on the road, working the same shows, working different shows, watching wrestling together. So for me, it was just almost just natural chemistry, I guess. Just Mother Nature was just like, these two forces must be one. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh,
but.
Same. First time we tagged together, I've been in multiple tag teams, and first time I tagged with you was probably the one I clicked with the most. So,
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, do you guys think that you got instant
doing better.
chemistry, or did it come over time?
I would say
yeah, when we
instant.
first tagged together, that's when it felt pretty instant, and now it's like, instant chemistry, and now it's like we can read each other's minds. So
Yeah,
now
like
it's
it's like we could just look at each other like, do the thing. Like I don't know exactly what the thing is, but the thing gets done through whether it may be a punch or a kick, but like the thing gets done. It's funny.
No, man, don't be afraid of it. If you guys work out that kind of tag team telepathy, that's what you want. You want to be able to blink, nod, wave, point, and have your partner know what you're going for. I want, or what you need. Though I always love that, Demolition Axe, just scream, give me the foot, get that foot up in the corner. But the question I want to ask you guys is what is there a tag match that you're looking forward to in Fight Underground and outside of Fight Underground? Just on the indies, not WWE, not New Japan, not AEW. Is there a tag team that you guys would really, really like to fight?
You want to go first? You want me to go? Okay, so I got a couple. So first and foremost, the main event. We're 1-0 against the main event. There's some big boys. There's some strong boys. Gannon gave me a scar, and I want to pay him back for it. Duke runs his mouth too much. I said it, and I ain't afraid to say it to his face. The Gymnasties. I'm a big fan of White Mike and Timmy Lou. They are phenomenal, and I would love to be in the ring with those guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I'm trying to think now. You got anything else? Oh, DD Trash. Honestly, like I feel like they are highly underrated. That's Bruce Gray and Ron Mathis. For me, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for their advice and getting in the car with them and riding with them. Like those guys have helped shape me a lot. So did he. I mean, I was a big dude wrestling like a little dude, and then eventually, I got forced to work like a big dude.
Bruce Gray.
Those are my three teams.
Bruce Gray will always get the put over from me. Always get the big up for me. Love that guy. I'm looking forward to meeting Ron Mathis at some point. If he's strong enough to put up with Bruce and partner with Bruce, then he's got to be a good guy.
I got funny stories about Bruce in the car ride, man. Oh boy.
Well, we'll talk someday. I have some stories about Bruce for you.
Oh, fantastic.
We see. I don't know if you know this, Crosshairs, but we know Bruce from refereeing days back in our area.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yes.
And yes, when I heard that he had transitioned to the ring, it was news. It was definitely news to me because the first time I heard it, I remember thinking, wait, Bruce Gray, the ref,
Bruce Gray, who had retired as a ref.
Yes.
Right.
He had hung them up. He had hung up his ref shoes and then came back as a wrestler. Damn, man. It was very surprising, but look at how well he's doing. So he's a smart man.
Absolutely. I noticed you guys didn't say any of the tag teams in the Fight Underground. So I guess we're gonna have to go. Outside and bring in some stronger teams because apparently our tag teams you think are just gonna blow right through. So I mean, which is actually, good to have that kind of confidence.
So I mean, just not to seem like cocky or anything, but we've already done OSHA. We finished that. We finished the good guys. Who's next? The Bitcoin boys. Which don't get me wrong, we're excited about working them, but they're literally a quarter of our size. Itty bitty living space.
So I'm going to jump in here, guys, with a question. So I've been a part of a number of tag teams throughout my years.
He also has a lot of monikers.
Yes. I've been a part of some very successful ones where we've had a lot of great in-ring chemistry. And I've been part of some just god-awful ones where we had no chemistry at all and the promoter put us together because we had similar builds. So I know how important it is to have chemistry, not just in the ring, with that timing, with knowing what the other person's thinking, getting to that next move or that next sequence with your partner. But you also need to focus on that chemistry outside of the ring. And I'm curious now, with the times that we're in where promotions aren't running regular shows, what are you guys doing to build and foster that chemistry outside of the ring?
Training. We train together constantly, always adapting, always figuring out new ways to physically assault people in the ring. So we're always working together, timing together. I see this dude more than my family some weeks. So
yeah, we do a lot of bonding outside of the ring as well. So maybe the bar, maybe going to grab something to eat. So we spend a lot of time together, as you can see. So yeah, I think he's basically family now. So that's just that's what it's come down to. So we're very open with each other. So one of us is slacking, or if one of us is not doing what we should be doing, the other lets them know. And there's no beef. And other people have literally tried to start shit or stuff things between us, and it's just like it never works because we're so vocal with each other and we communicate well. Like we argue all the time. Like it is bad sometimes. I never strike him, even though he hits me. I never put my hands on him, but like we have a really good relationship, I think. Or I feel.
Sounds kind of domestic abusey.
I'm glad somebody said it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is getting a little Alabama housewife. I mean, what's up?
I believe it.
See?
I thought maybe we were on the wrong show.
Yeah, this isn't about wrestling at all. This is actually a carefully orchestrated intervention.
Pat, you need to talk about your feelings without your fists.
It works because like we take that we take our frustrations with each other and put it into the ring. So like it works for us. Like that's how we function.
Well, all right. All right. Well, on that note,
Maybe.
we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Is there anything you guys would like to close out with?
Follow us, share us on social media, Warhorse NDK on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And coming
All right.
soon, ProWrestlingTees.com.
Oh, very nice.
Sure.
Nice. Very nice. Would you say, Noir?
Oh, I'll buy a shirt, definitely.
Mark. All right.
If you
Well,
didn't buy
guys.
a shirt, I would force you to buy a shirt.
I can still
All right,
spit
guys.
this in your face.
Well, thank you for coming on, and we can't wait to see you guys compete again the next time Fight Underground fights. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
All right, everybody. That was Warhorse, one of the most dominant tag teams on the East Coast. Now we are going to jump to something else, something a little bit more serious. For those of you that tuned in a couple weeks ago on Inside Out, we had a discussion that was basically about women in professional wrestling and how they are treated, how they are looked at, everything like that. It got a great reaction, got great reviews. So we decided to do something similar. Only this time, we wanted to focus more on diversity. So specifically people of color. And so we tonight are going to be having a discussion. Same kind of topics, how views, privilege, how people are looked upon. With us, Kingdom James, Christian Noir, Crosshairs Kelly, already here. Joining them will be Ronnie Nicole, the Rev Ronell Hunt. What's going on, everybody?
Oh, sitting here doing internet stuff.
Here with you guys.
Hello, Ronnie.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good. Yourself, Ronnie?
Hanging in there. You know 2020, always throwing those curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
Have you encountered any murder hornets yet?
No, but I'll be on the lookout. I got enough to worry about.
I cannot believe somebody hasn't announced that they're changing their tag name to the Murder Hornets yet. I mean,
Oh, we'll see it 2021. People are ordering the
Well, I
gear
was
right
sitting there
now.
waiting for the COVID. Waiting for the COVID kid in the essentials.
COVID kid?
oh
Yeah, the
my
COVID
God.
kid in the essentials, man. The next coming faction. It's gonna happen.
So, how do we want to handle this, kids? Because, I mean, we've decided on a serious topic. How do we get started?
I can talk about some of the experiences I've had so far,
Yeah.
or I think that should be kind of the gist of, like, the actual offense or the thing that would cause the tension possibly to be risen. I know that there was a show in Ohio that I was working. I was working there since I started, so probably about 4 years, and the booker was super racially drawn to insulting people of color during his shows. And so one of them, we went out there and, like, not to put ourselves over, but we had one hell of a match. A buddy of ours did a gimmick match, and then he turned around and then tried to short us on pay after, being racially offensive the entire night. And so the promoter, who was different from the booker, was trying to give us money. And I literally told him, I was like, I can deal with the racist bull. I could deal with the lack of psychology, but I won't be shorted on my money, because that shows that you don't have a value for me. You don't have a value for my tag partner. So I was just really upset about it. And then a buddy of ours who was fairly new, like, he's working this gimmick match, putting his body extra online, and you short him too. Is it because of our color of our skin? And so once I actually made it vocal and I brought it up, they stopped using us. So, that happened, but then, like, it opened up other doors. So I was just like, it comes to a point is, where do you see yourself and how do you value yourself? And then what mountain are you going to fight or die on, you know? So that was just one experience that I've had to deal with so far. I don't know about you guys. Like,
well, sometimes you really do have to value your self-respect over another booking. And I know that, you know, listen, I've been around this nonsense for longer than probably a couple of the people in this room have been alive. So, you know, without checking ID, but there are times where you just have to say, and as much as you want to wrestle everywhere, you want to get to as many promotions in as many places and get your name out there as possible. You want to get in those reps and get better and climb that ladder. But sometimes you just have to say, no, this is not worth it, because you know that the people you're dealing with are not treating you like a person. Or you know, even in some cases, you're going to go to a place and the crowd is going to turn on you simply for being who you are. And wrestling has always made money off of racism.
yeah.
Okay? Wrestling has always made money off of exploiting stereotypes into gimmicks and into angles. Wrestling has always taken advantage of the divide, and at a certain point just stand up and say no. Don't participate in it. Value yourself over that one extra booking a month. And when you say I pointed it out and they stopped using us, guy did you a favor, man. Guy did you a favor. I'm part of my experience in Pittsburgh. I lived in Pittsburgh for 2 years in 2 stints, and that's how I know. That's how I'm part of this today, is because of the time I spent in Pittsburgh, and then afterwards coming back to town to work shows. One of my earliest experiences in Pittsburgh was a certain, let's use the word promoter, putting me into a tag team. Yeah, putting me into a tag team with a guy who turned out to be a great friend. He put me in a tag team with a guy named Eric Blake, who wrestled as Black Cat. That was 1996. And our gimmicks had nothing to do with one another. Couldn't have been farther from each other. But we got put together into a tag team. And at one point during our run, I asked the promoter straight out, did you put Kat and I together simply because we're both black? And with no shame and with no hesitation, actually with a smirk on his face, he just looked at me and said, yeah. Okay.
That Bill Watts booking, man.
Yeah. We stayed together as a team until I moved back to Toronto for a couple of years. When I came back, and this is where this is a hill I chose not to fight or die on. I chose to turn around. When I came back in 99, wrestled on a couple of shows with that same group, and I just had a sense that the same thing was going to happen to me. So I looked around the locker room, and there sitting across from me was Big. And I got to know him a little, and we spoke, and I said, look, they ain't using you right. They ain't going to use me right. I know what's about to happen, brother. Why don't we go to the booker now? Maybe we create a tag team and we could do something with it. And so we did. I think the booker at that point was Samu. And so we did, and that's how we became unstoppable. And we didn't treat it as something that was forced upon us. We took charge of it. And we got so over with the crowd that they ended up putting the tag titles on us. Believe in yourself and don't let anybody screw with you just because of your melatonin level or your melanin level, okay? It is worth it to you to swerve fools who will, in the long run, whether anybody else wants to believe what you're saying or not, in the long run, they will prove themselves foolish and you'll still be standing. Now I'm going to shut up.
I mean, I think it's easy to say that now because we're in the climate of enough is enough and people are ready for things to change.
Yeah.
People are beyond tired, of seeing people being gunned down and murdered in the streets when our grandparents saw them be hung from trees. The world is changing, which allows wrestling to also change, but I'm of the different generation. So I was taught literally by my trainers to not say anything about it. I was conditioned and told off the rip, you're black, you're gonna have to deal with the racism.
Absolutely.
Sorry about your luck. And I'm like, well, I'm also from the South, so noted. But I think it's really dangerous to ignore the fact that a lot of what happened was because those we trusted in power and those we trusted to train us and teach us how to do it better, they did not. They continued to keep the status quo as it was. That's just a business, kid. You got to pay your dues, kid. But then I'm being told, leave the business better than you found it. So am I supposed to be okay with like racism and assault, or am I supposed to change that for future generations? Like, you tell me, because I'm following your lead. So a lot of what happens in terms of the race relations in wrestling is stuff that has been propagated throughout history at some of the highest levels that we see, and is still being propagated at some of the highest levels that we see. At this point, it should be regular conversation to see minorities of all different classifications represented, because that's what the world is.
Yeah.
There's no way to whitewash reality, because the reality is we're all here, and there are tons of other groups who are often misrepresented in just our day-to-day lives. So it's not really surprising that we continue to have this problem in the industry, because those in power and those who've taught us didn't see it as a problem in the first place. It is up to our generation and those of us who are coming into this new time of upheaval to really not to say no and to do these things you're talking about. But when I came in, no, you didn't do that. And the fact that I did and was blackballed and was called a problem and said I had an attitude, don't get me started on the code switching, okay? All of that is really prevalent, and it really can F your life up, because especially here in the South, like you guys are up north, racism is everywhere, okay? But in the South, you're conditioned to kind of look at racism through the lens of something that's, c'est la vie, and unfortunately down here, especially if you're religious, racism is so wrapped up in religion down here. It's almost like, well, if you're not racist, you don't love the Lord.
Where are you,
They use it as a justification.
Yeah.
Boom.
Where are you, Ronnie?
I'm in North Carolina, but I'm from Texas. I'm from Houston.
Oh, okay. See, now I'm very obviously, I'm Canadian. I'm from Toronto. So our racism up here is much more polite.
Oh, no, it's polite here, too. It's polite here, too.
Yeah.
But because we had to quickly move past we're all going to have a picnic and lynch someone and then stand around and take pictures and take pieces of their dead body home to pass to our generations of children. We had to move
Yeah.
away from that in the South because that kind of got distasteful. So we
Yeah.
covered it up with, oh, you're so well spoken for a black girl. Or, is your father in the picture? I'm so surprised. Like, they started sprinkling sugar on the bullshit so that it was easier to swallow, but it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's the same, you know, it's the same coded language when you try to go into a job, and because I have my natural hair but I don't have straight weave in, I'm not going to be considered for the position.
Yeah.
It's showing up in Mississippi and I'm a baby face, but no, tonight you're a heel.
You reminded me of, okay. One thing first, you mentioned the status quo, and a thing that I've been saying on my own podcast a lot lately when I talk about politics, when I talk about the situation going on in, the US and Canada right now, is if somebody's making money off the status quo, they're going to fight to maintain the status quo
At all costs.
at all costs. That's how they're making their living. But now you reminded me of a very early show I working for. The first time I ever worked for Les Thatcher. Les Thatcher was co-promoting a show outside of Cincinnati with the Comer brothers and a few people in the Potter will remember Billy Comer, Major Agony. Dash might remember, but it was at a sports club. So basically, out in the woods, shooting range and yada yada yada. And at that point, I was still largely doing like the evil Canadian gimmick, which is. The evil Canadian gimmick consists mostly of me talking truths about America, and no one wants to hear that shit. Okay, while wearing a Maple Leafs jersey, and I was told going into that show, honest to God, these are almost exactly the words. I know what your usual gimmick is, but you might want to watch yourself because we're out in the woods and there are a lot of tall trees.
Oh, yeah.
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 Straight up told, it's basically that's the code for some of these rednecks might not take your usual promo as lightheartedly as other people do.
It's still real to them, damn it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No. Yeah. So we got through that okay. I didn't talk about, Canadians burning down the White House that day. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if obviously, and pardon me flagging my age here, I don't know that you kids have it the same way as guys did maybe 20, 30 years ago, or if it's different, or if it's better or worse. I don't know, but I hope that, like I say, I hope that none of you put up with people's shit.
It's a combination, I would say.
I don't.
Definitely a combination.
Yeah.
So I know there's a promoter that hit us up, and it's weird because the promoters will hit you up, the fans will like your page and follow you, and then they'll say some off the cuff stuff, and you're just sitting there going like, you do realize half of this tag team is black. Like, what are you like?
Oh yeah.
What are you
fans
doing?
Some
fans are
just
horrible
very-
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh yeah.
it's like Black Lives Matter is horrible, and then you turn around and it's like, but I love me some Warhorse. I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh.
Yeah, like
Okay.
fans are very vocal about a lot of things they say. Like I'll never forget. I was at a company here in Pittsburgh, and it was me and Lee Moriarty wrestling, two black guys. And I come out with my whole scarecrow gimmick. And right before the match start, lady just stands up and screams, "Beat that monkey's ass!"
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I like
Sounds very Pittsburgh. I like
yeah,
it.
and like here's me in face paint, just like I I know she didn't.
Yeah.
And then,
Yes, she did.
and then Lee looks at me. He's like, just by that look on his face, he's like, don't let them get to you. He was like, we're bigger than this. We're better than this. Look, we made it through, but we got to the back. I let it be known, like, when Rachel like, look, that's not cool. I don't care that you paid your ticket and all that, but that ain't gonna fly.
No.
I was like, I don't care that, I may come out, I'm the bad guy. Like that.
Has a fan ever dropped an N-bomb on any of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I got called the N-word to my face in China.
What?
That's not funny.
What?
It's like, but really?
Right. Oh yeah. Okay, look, let's not
my
okay,
God.
as much as I love Japan, y'all know I spent a hell of years there, right? As much as I love traveling internationally, the racism's no different. It's just different how they approach you with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Japan was someone's gonna pull my hair while I'm on the train to see if it's real. A child is gonna rub the skin on my arm to see if the black's gonna come off. I'm using the jump rope outside the dojo, and there's a big gate in front. So people like walk by the gate and then walk back and then walk again and then walk back and just stop and stare at you.
So
Okay.
you're just like on display like it's a zoo. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I was pretty much the Venus Hottentot of Japan. But then I go to China, and I would liken China to Japan's ratchet younger cousin who always needs to borrow $20.
Beautiful.
At least the area that I was in, okay? I was in Guangzhou, and it's like the older, like textile warehouse, like fashion district, but a lot of stuff is shut down. This was way pre-COVID, so there wasn't anything really going on that would have affected the economy like that, but it's a different world. And it was an MMA show / a wrestling show, so some of the MMA fighters are walking around with some of the wrestlers. And we're outside this big plaza, and there's a guy serving food from a food truck, or like a little food cart, excuse me. And I go to look to see what it is because I'm hungry. Okay, I am Big Bang.
Oh.
And what he was serving, I did not recognize as an animal. So I decided to, pass on that. And as I'm turning around, the guy goes, "You, nigga!" And I'm like, okay.
Jeez.
Wow.
You hit me with the hard ER, my friend. And I just remember turning back around, and God bless him, this big MMA fighter guy who was hanging out with us, like just grabs me like a cat by the back of the neck. It's like, no. And I'm like, are you kidding right now? He's like, we're leaving because we're foreigners in a foreign country and we have no rights, which he's right about.
Right.
Right. So,
Man.
yeah, I mean, it was very evident there, more so than in Japan, because in Japan, everyone's very conditioned to be polite and to not really, display how they feel about anything. So especially, racially speaking, it was definitely an experience. But I will say that when I was there, even in the dojo, I had to dispel racial stereotypes and kind of explain to people why what they were saying was not okay and why those things were not acceptable for me as a person of color. And they honestly, that was the first time in my life when I was explaining race to someone that I felt like my humanity was seen. I felt like the people that I was talking to were genuinely not trying to be racist, but because of the imagery they see and because how racism is really steeped into the institutions of America, they can't help but see these negative images of people of color and think that's what it is.
And they have very little, I should say, they have very little
Reference.
in-person experience
Exactly.
with somebody of our color. How many? I mean, I could open Wikipedia and take a look and tell you what the percentages of non-native Japanese people are in Japan, but I think we're gonna find something, under 1%.
Well, I mean, the numbers are growing, but you also have to realize, just like we're conditioned to not look outside of America,
Yeah.
You know, we're conditioned to not look outside of American history. We think everything we learn in school, that's American history, and we know what we need to know, and we don't need to know anything about anybody else's culture. We good. You know, I love to go out for pho, though. You know what I mean? Like, I love K-pop, though. You know, like, we can take things from other cultures, but we don't take enough time to learn about where this
History
stuff
and
comes
respect
from.
where they come from. Yep.
Right. So other places do the same thing. You know, Japan is all Japan everything. I mean,
Yeah.
but
And
I
that's
did
what I-
find
that's
that they
what I
were
mentioned.
open to it, you know?
Yeah, but there are some things. Now, I've never been to Japan. I am desperate to travel to Japan. I mean, it's been planned and postponed a couple of times for me. But I also know that Japan might have some fascinations with parts of Western history that aren't necessarily things that we might like them to explore.
Right.
You know, when
You're right.
when you can find a Hitler themed cafe of all Japanese servers in Nazi uniforms, it's like, yeah, I don't know if you learned the lesson we were hoping you'd learn from that. But then again, in the States, just on the weekend, just over this weekend, there's footage that goes viral online of two people at a Walmart wearing homemade swastika face masks
Interesting.
because they've got to wear a mask to go into Walmart. Well, this is what we're going to wear.
Did they get that design off Pinterest, or was that maybe a
Guarantee someone sells it right off Etsy.
Yeah,
Right,
there's an Etsy page. There's an Etsy page somewhere.
Hitler chic? Yeah.
I'm curious. I gotta look this up now.
I'm gonna
And that's
touch
like,
up
the
on.
point that Ronnie's making, though. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a white male in America.
Yeah, we know.
I've experienced reverse side of racism because for a little over a year and a half, I had a roommate named Shane Taylor. And I had a lot of people approach me that I had to quickly shut up because of the comments they would make. Why would you let a black man in your house? Don't you feel that he's going to go through your personal belongings? Absolutely not. Because yeah, and it's a real thing that I've experienced, and I wanted to just chime in with that, just to like speak up that I spoke up when people approached me that I felt was ignorant and wrong.
Well, I know for a fact that we have had multiple promoters set us up, and then like either they've said something online or they've done something at a show, and Pat has literally just been like, "Dog, we ain't gonna come back here." He's very protective on things like that. Not that it matters, but he has a biracial child. So it's funny when people say things, but to Ronnie's point too, you have to, if you don't say something, then you can't necessarily get mad at them because sometimes they just don't know, or they've never experienced it, or they think it's okay. But when you express yourself, or you tell them how it is, and you like go into detail about it, it's going to be uncomfortable for them. It may be uncomfortable for you, but sometimes you have to take that step because knowledge truly is power. And so we have a mutual friend from a show, and he said some off the cuff stuff because I put some water in my hair for promo pic. And he's like, "You don't need that. You have black hair." And I was like, "Come here." I slapped the stew out of him, and he looked at me and goes, "What was that for?" I go, "You can't say things like that. You are dating a black woman. You can't say things like that. It's not appropriate, and it's not okay." And his response was, "Oh, I didn't know." And I go, "Yeah, it's a thing. So
yeah,
just be better. Just be better. That's all I ask."
And it's honestly, I was listening to this lady, and she's a white lady. She was an educator, and she was saying that pretty much if you grow up white in America or in the American education system, there's no way that you're not racist to some degree because of the way that history and education is taught to us. You know,
and most black scholars,
right?
Say
say the
separation
same
of schools
thing.
was the worst thing we could do. Yep.
Yes. And it does make people very uncomfortable because as a black person, you're taught to see the line, period.
Right.
So I live my day-to-day life differently than any of my white counterparts. So, for example, my roommate is biracial, but he grew up with only people who were white. Okay. So we are out at a restaurant and we are sitting down trying to figure out what we're going to eat. Now, we go here a lot, but so we should know, but you know, I still needed a moment. Another family, a white family, is seated behind us. Our waitress is white. She serves the white family first. We were ready. My menu was down. We were sitting there waiting to be served. She served them first. He did not pick up on that because he's not conditioned to see that. He in his life has not experienced that and was not ever given the talk. He was not sat down at 3 years old and told you're going to have to work twice as hard for half as much, and there's not a lot you could do about it. And that sort of internalization of you are already looked at as a second-class citizen, you already move in a world beneath the world, so to speak, and your entire life is going to be spent trying to climb the ladder to get up to this other world, that's a lot to lay on a child.
It is.
That's a lot to lay on any person because the rest of your life is dictated by how people are going to perceive you. I don't ever go into a store and not get a receipt and not get a shopping bag. I bet they can tell you why. Because if I walk out of that store,
because as soon as you try to walk out that store, excuse me, can I see your receipt? But
right.
You didn't check that cart full of stuff's receipt. What do you mean?
Okay, you didn't check this crackhead at Walmart who clearly is stealing all of this shit right now because he needs a blender, a microwave, and a sewing machine and a vacuum. Yeah. You are not a college student. You're not starting up a dorm. You about to go pawn all of this. But you white, and you just dipped out, and I have literally a pack of batteries, and I'm a thief? All right.
Have you ever gone full Karen in a store and said, "I want to speak to your manager"?
I have.
When I was younger, because I was taught also when I was younger, and I'm not sure if you guys got this, for if you're a respectable black person, they'll respond to you more.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're polite and if you're well-spoken and if you don't get upset and you've tried to be moderate in your tone the whole time, you will be accepted. Yeah, fuck that noise.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Okay? Because Breonna Taylor was sleeping in her goddamn bed. So what's really good? There's nothing that you can do that will make people see you for a human if they already have been conditioned to see you as less than.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Nothing.
There's even times, where like, I'm pretty sure maybe you guys experience it, but like you're walking down the street and you'll have a lady legitly cross all the way to the other side of the street. And I remember one day I was on my way to a job interview. I was dressed well. I had a Jerry curl, don't mind that. But
we're not going off over that. Hold on. We'll go into that out of chat.
I'm glad you
I thought I was fresh with that for a minute, okay?
You didn't want to slip and fall.
Like, first of all, how you gonna think a 20-year-old kid with a Jerry curl is a threat?
It is 107 degrees out there. Jerry curl is going to turn into a permanent plastic bucket welded to your head.
He's got juice hanging down his back. Okay, it's not sweating, Jerry curl.
Fuck, man, you walk by me with a Jerry curl, I'm going to cross the street. I don't want to get any of that on me.
I flicked my head one way too quick.
Steaming hot Jerry curl juice coming right at your face.
I grew with old heads who thought that was the stuff. But I was walking down the street. Lady sees me. She like legitly, like no crosswalk. She like grips onto her purse.
Oh yeah.
Does this power walk in these heels across the street. And then as soon as she gets behind me far enough, she gets back on the other side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the thing where like coming by me, on a stretch of road, nobody to be seen, a cab. I'm waving for a cab. He's turned off the light, driven past me, turned the light back on. I mean, we've all had the bullshit. I've walked by a car and had people reach up and
lock the door.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna jump in your car, bitch. I got Uber. Thanks. I'm good.
It's like nobody wants your '98 Honda Civic.
Why are you still driving that? Okay, it's like Ultima. If I'm gonna hop in anybody's car, it's gonna be a Maybach. Like, get out of here. Whatever.
My favorite is always like I think Ronnie mentioned earlier is like you're attractive for a person of color or you're attractive for a black guy or you're attractive for a black woman. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, that's the whole.
It's not like you're typing in BBW or BBC into Pornhub XXNX. Don't play me, okay?
Don't call out my website like that.
Yeah. But that's the whole. That's the whole. You're one of the good ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll tell you what.
You got a good job. Oh, you have good hair. Like,
oh shit! I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay. So, for almost 20 years now, I've worked nights. I work in a nightclub. And for a while, years ago, there was a Chinese restaurant in downtown Toronto that we used to go to after work. Now, after work means that we're not getting there until 3:30 in the morning. Okay,
right,
long after last call, and they'd still serve us. Right, they're very good to us. So one night, the club manager, assistant manager, and I go to this restaurant. We've already got a couple of beers in us, of course, because we're friggin' alcoholics. So we go in, and we can't sit at our usual table. We have to sit at the next table over, and we're feeling kind of privileged, and we're grumbling about it underneath our breath. And my manager says, pardon my language, fucking niggers.
Jeez.
Oh.
To which I
hard ER.
To which I look up. I look up at him, and he looks over at the other table, and he looks back at me, and he just puts his head down. And he goes, "Oh God!" And now we're gonna have to fight. And I look at him and I say, "Who the fuck is we?" If they heard you, they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And 15 years later, he still occasionally apologizes to me for that night.
Oh, come on, man.
I know one.
Even the best of intentions, it's gonna slip out once in a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have to decide what you're going to do about it.
Sure, that's like when
it's on
when
you
they say,
all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's like when they say, "Oh, I never say that word. I would never." And back in my mind, I was like, my granddad always told me, like, when they say that, I'm like, first off, when I say N-word, I can be talking about anything, but you know exactly what it means. You know how to spell it. You know the abbreviations. They're like, you know it. It's like, so don't give me that, like, you never say it. I'm like, don't try to appeal to me. But like one place I experienced racism was when I was in the military, and I was stationed in Mississippi. Like, the amount of black people there on base was very fewer than to the white people on base. And I was like right out of Texas, so it was like boot camp, your job school. So we had people from all over America, and there's a lot of like Southern people, and they will always tell me, because we would hang out, it got me. They were like y'all said, you're that one good black person, and they would crack black jokes all the time, and it would kill me, because like I felt like I couldn't do anything because I was still young in the military. I didn't want to get kicked out. I didn't want to cause problems, and I was outnumbered. And like I was like, what am I going to do? Run off a base and run into like racist people outside the base? And it's like I had to suck that up for 3 months, and then got back to my base out here in Pittsburgh. But you see, like, there's racism in the military. Like, even though I thought it wouldn't happen up here in Pittsburgh, when I got back to this base, there was racism up there. It killed me every day, because like I did my 4 years when I got out, and they asked me, like, would you do it again? I'm like, look, I'm proud I served, I take nothing back. I'm glad I learned my life lessons, but to deal with all that again, absolutely not. It's not worth like me holding that in.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what
So-
people don't understand, when you internalize that shit, that's trauma.
It eats you alive. It makes it
Yes.
awkward and weird.
It makes
you
you
know?
sick.
Yeah.
That weird
It physically
feeling
makes you
inside.
sick.
Somebody
You know?
else has the problem, and you're the one who has to deal with it.
Right.
Right.
Or like
Yeah.
you have to make the person making you feel like shit feel better.
Or you have to
Right.
decide whether or not you're going to confront it, and what is the cost to you if you confront it?
Exactly.
Right. Or if you don't.
Because some people, and you can tell if you spend enough time with somebody, some people don't want to learn.
No.
Some
Nope.
people are never going to want to learn a damn thing. They are set in their ways. They have their confirmation bias all lined up when you want to
They-
challenge them.
They don't see color. It's not about race. Like
Well, yeah. Listen, I'm biracial. My father is white. I don't hold it against him. He knows. I've had to explain to members of my own family why I don't ever want to hear "all lives matter" out of your mouth again.
Jesus wept.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I've
I got
had.
an uncle. Yeah.
Hold on, Justin. I got something on my note. Okay.
I'm
in the chat.
sorry.
Motherfucker. But here, okay, now we've been. That's not for you at home. That's not for you at home.
oh,
It's okay.
man.
Justin's one of the good ones.
No, we tell them you're invited to the cookout. You can take a plate home.
Yeah.
Justin, don't bring that potato salad though. Don't come up
Oh
in
yeah,
there with
y'all
no
put
fucking
raisins
potato
in that.
salad.
God.
Keep that shit home.
It's
I
probably
want that.
Just
Yeah,
buy some cumin or something.
Unseasoned chicken.
Paprika,
Oh.
motherfucker. But okay, so we've been talking about this for about 40 minutes now, and we're entertaining ourselves. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
What do you do when you're confronted? What should we do going forward when we're confronted by the promoter, when we're confronted by the fans, when we're trying to, like Ronnie said, follow through on that promise of making the business better when we leave than the way we found it? Part of that has to include dealing with those promoters, those other wrestlers, those fans, the state of the business. What do we do going forward?
For me, I've actually, not to jump in there, but like for me, I've been a little bit more vocal than I normally have been in the past. And that a lot of that is from our trainers, because they were actually really dope about just being like, once you're at a certain point, you're also adults. Like, if the shit's not right, call them out on it, and be vocal about it. And we've been getting wind that like people are actually like talking about just the way we carry ourselves and like how there's not drama or issues with us. That's because we don't tolerate the bullshit. We really don't. So if you can approach the situation without necessarily escalating it, but like give the opportunity for people to learn and to figure out like what you're saying or what you're doing is not okay, and it's not okay for these reasons. It's not about being soft. It's about common respect and courtesy. Just point blank at this point.
Yeah, like I wholeheartedly agree with Kelly, especially because now we have platforms where we can express like this is not right. Let it be brought to light like, hey, this guy said this, that, and the third. These things are not okay. And I feel like we are in a time where it's more now we can say without necessarily have to like bottle it up that somebody was wrong or someone said something not right. So I feel like we have more power now to speak up about, everything going on and things that have gone on.
I
It's
think
not my
with
fucking
it-
job. That's how I feel. I disagree with all that shit. It's not my job to sit here and educate grown-ass people about the issues facing race in America. Everybody's got a computer in their hand. You better Google it and get to work, because it is the job of the majority to make the changes in the system so that the minority can thrive. What change can we truly make when we are not the ones in position of power? Speaking truth to power is going to work, but we've been doing that for a long time. Ethel Johnson did that back in her day. Kong did that in her day. And what has that gotten them? What has that gotten us?
Yeah.
Zip. It is far beyond time for people to stop placing the responsibility on minorities to figure this shit out. We didn't cause this problem. We showed up wanting an opportunity like everybody else, and we were told we were not good enough because of the color of our skin, because the person in charge 9 times out of 10 is a straight white man. So it is up to the people in charge to make the difference that we want to see, and to be on board with those of us who have been speaking this fight continuously since your time, since my time, and now this time of this new generation. This isn't something new. This has been going on since wrestling started, okay? This is why you don't know the name Lily Thomas. This is why people don't know Sweet Georgia Brown. This is why people don't know Black Cat Johnson. This is why people only vaguely know of Junkyard Dog. You see what I'm saying? This has already been built in. This was done intentionally, just it was done intentionally in America. So no, there is nothing that Ronnie Big Bang Nicole is going to do except continue to do what I have been doing, and is making sure that this way is paved for those who really have a heart and a trust into making a difference in the world through this business. But it is not our job to sit here and shoulder the years of discrimination and prejudice that was levied against us, because we weren't the ones who started it. So it is time for promotions to have diversity employment. That means someone who is helping the booker or their talent relations to make sure that their roster is actually reflective of the community and of the world that they're in. It is time to stop having one-off all black people shows as if that's acceptable. It is time to stop acting like because I've got 2 black guys and 2 white black girls that my black quota is full on the roster. I've also got 1 Native American and 2 luchadors, so we're good. We're super international. Are we?
Yeah.
Or are you
Native
putting in the
American's not
token?
even Native American.
Right. Your Native American is not even Native American. That's some white dude who
He's
goes
Puerto
to the
Rican.
bed.
Yeah.
Right. Or he's Puerto Rican. What? No.
Oh, man.
We're not going to
That's
do this, okay?
But-
I don't want to see another Black Lives Matter show from somebody who's putting out racist rap videos. Huh? I said what I said.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking
I
about.
don't
know.
want to see anything else about King of the Death Match or working out for IWA Mid-South and motherfuckers talking about Black Lives Matter. Do they? Yeah, I'm naming fucking names. You out here
I don't
working
know.
for people
Last
that are
time I
known
checked,
racist.
somebody said that they would put the white counterpart on at a discounted cost. He would even let his colored boy work. So I'm just saying.
Oh,
What do
okay.
we have
First of
to
all,
do?
I
What
think I
do
could.
we have to do?
I think I could listen to Ronnie all night. This is
Oh, I
beautiful.
can too. I'm about to grab my candy corn and get ready.
Guys, I
Damn.
haven't even had wine today.
But here's what I'm gonna say is look at the Washington football team, because that is their official name right now, the
That's
Washington
a
football.
terrible name. They could have made a
Well,
better effort.
well, hold on. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but there's a precedent for having to get rid of a nickname and being football team. It's a CFL thing. Anyways, listen. The reason that they are no longer the Washington racial slurs and they are the Washington football team is because economic pressure was put on them. There was 70 years of people saying that is a racial slur. Change your nickname. It wasn't until Nike and Adidas and FedEx said, we're not giving you sponsorship money anymore, that they finally, we get it. And they're currently the Washington football team. And they're that because the name they want to go to is copywritten by somebody else. And they don't want to get into a Lady Antebellum situation where they're getting their asses, they're suing somebody and looking like jackasses. So here's what my suggestion is. You have fans. You have people who follow you on social media. You don't have to go out of your way to teach a history lesson. All you have to do is pick pick and choose properly where you want to work and tell your fans where you're going to be. And if somebody says to you, and I'll say it right now, if somebody says to you, hey, Kingdom James, are you going to be at the PWX anniversary show? And my response to them is no, because the fucking promoter is a racist.
I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Am I not muted? Shit. Oh, I'm so sorry, yo. I thought I was muted. My bad. Oh.
No, bring it on. You're teaching that audience. Hey, what have I got?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be 50, I'm gonna be 50 soon. I got nothing to lose from some fucking half-shaved Sasquatch sitting in McKeesport.
Looking like an upside-down bowling pin. All right.
And you know you're watching, old man.
Spying.
I expect a poorly worded and poorly spelled Facebook post any moment now.
Caps. In all caps.
All caps.
Talking about how everyone in Pittsburgh goes him.
Use what you have and guide people's money. Because if you want to change the status quo, then you need to interrupt people's cash flow. And that is the only way that shit happens.
You are very right. And it's funny you mention him, because when I was in the office with him, he told me to my face, we have too many black girls. You know, we've got you. That's pretty much, you know how it is up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But the show that I had 5 black girls on, every girl sold out of merch. Everybody made money. That was the most he had packed in to that asbestos infested building. So, you know, y'all keep saying that people of color don't sell tickets and can't headline, but y'all keep running around in your Black Panther mask for Halloween. So, you know.
If you want to know something, ask a question. That's all there is about it, folks. If you're watching this out there, if you want to know something, ask a question. Because I think you've seen tonight, if you ask a question in a polite and sincere manner, you will get an answer.
Absolutely.
If you want to learn, there are ways to learn. And if you want to teach, there are ways to teach.
It's really about how people approach it, you know? And I don't feel like people especially after speaking out, like I feel like someone made the comment, what if we did a racism speaking out, and it went crickets? And somebody made the comment, yeah, we already did that and nothing happened. And they were right. There was a huge movement where there were a lot of promoters who were racist that were called out. There were a lot of wrestlers who were racist who were called out. And next thing you know, some of these same people ended up on the speaking out list years later. You know what I mean? So this is something, like I said, that it really has to begin with the majority making those changes and being conscious of the fact that if you guys are about your bottom line, you're also missing out on a huge segment of the population that you could be getting cash from. I mean, let's just call it what it is. If you're trying to get money, black people have money. And if you approach it and if you do it right, they will spend money to see professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not something that has to be exclusively white or exclusively lucha or exclusively, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that, because wrestling genuinely is for everyone.
Yeah, it should be a buffet. It should be a smorgasbord of talent and race and diversity and sexual orientation. None of these things should matter. It should be about the skill and the talent that person is bringing to the table. That is the key factor. That is why people are there. They're there to be entertained. It's not about the color of their skin. It's not about who they're sleeping with. It's about the entertainment level that they bring and the emotions that they draw from the fans. That's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about anything else.
No.
Point blank.
And we as black wrestlers have to do a better job looking out for each other in terms of knowing who to work for, knowing who not to work for, and to actually keep each other in mind when it comes to business. Because I can count on one hand the number of black wrestlers that I trust because of how our interaction has been, because we've been conditioned that there's only so many spots. So if I put my sister on or I put my brother on, then my spot's gone, because that's built into the business for black wrestlers. Just the same way that Booker T is saying something against the whole, Naomi deserves better movement on Twitter. He's a black man. His job, at minimum, should be defending her, sticking up for her, being a leader, in the locker room for race instead of, I'm going to say it, being a coon.
Well, you're threatening his money by telling him to change his status quo.
Yeah, well, you know,
See?
it would be nice, and I'm going to say this as
It
a black
would,
woman in
wouldn't it?
wrestling, it would be nice to feel supported by my brothers. And I'm not speaking to all, but I will say that the black wrestler I was involved with when
Yeah.
I was assaulted by a white man worked for that same white man for 2 years after. The black wrestlers that were there and continue to work for him after,
Yeah.
we no longer speak. So
Hands
if we're
up-
going to change,
oh.
we have to. You know, we have to.
Hands up, everybody in the room. Hands up. How many of you have ever worked for a black promoter? Okay.
I don't know if you can see my hand because my camera's being weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
did you guys
Not only
the
that,
experience?
But he had money ready at the door too, so he wasn't waiting on the gate. Money was right
Oh.
there as soon as I walked in. So I mean,
No,
I'm just
mine
saying.
was hot dog and a handshake. The house was like,
Oh,
brother, catch you on the back end.
No.
Come to find out, this
Dang.
mofo knew he didn't have the money for any of the shows because he ran a double header at 12 o'clock that afternoon.
Oh.
PA, y'all do me dirty sometimes, PA. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, I be coming up there and be getting in some mess. Okay, y'all brought me all the way up there.
That'd be killing me after shows where they're like, well, I'm not sure about the money. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not sure? It's like,
How?
Bruh.
it's like, I almost killed myself on your show. Like, I'll never forget. Like, I was supposed to get 20, and I come up to the table. He's like, oh, the best I could do is 10. I'm like, bruh,
Excuse me.
I'm looking at all the money on the table. I was like, you should have figured this shit out way beforehand.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-uh. So
Oh,
I
budget. Where's your budget? What are we doing?
that's funny.
You don't have
I
a
just
show
doing
unless
another
you got the
promotion in
money.
Ohio.
I grabbed
Man,
all my
another
shit at
promotion in
once, and I did.
Ohio. Oh, that's crazy. Who says that? I totally forgot. So I was with a vet, and I was basically playing his diesel, and the promoter was like, "Oh man, I had to bring in this outside talent, so I don't know if I have the money." And so my vet's sitting there, and he's smaller than me, but the dude's crazy. So he's sitting there, and he's like pacing, talking to himself. He's like, "Man, we getting this money. We getting this money." I'm like, "It's cool." And then one of the brothers one of the brothers walks out, and he goes, "Is there money in there? Is there cash in there?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm going in there." And I let him go in there for 5 minutes, and then I walk in. He's got money in hand. I'm just like, well, I guess we got our money. So,
And I'll
it's
admit-
crazy to see
I'll
how
admit, I
different,
made
promoters are.
Yeah, I made mistakes early as a promoter. And when I decided I would run again, one of the things I said was no more mistakes. The money is the money is in an envelope in an envelope with your name on it when I get to the building.
Yep.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah, because you'll have one guy who's crazy enough to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to start taking parts of the ring until you find the money.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Taking parts of
left
the
with
ring,
stuff.
taking
I
belts,
don't care.
threatening
I'll take
people's lives.
I'll take the sound system. This will look
Like,
nice
bro,
in my living
like,
room.
I'm taking your ropes and the turnbuckles. I'm going to hook at everything.
I know at least one promoter who skipped out on a show and he never got that laptop back. I know.
Oh.
I know promoters who have left shows so quickly they left their clothes behind. You know.
That's
You
great.
better hit up the Salvation Army, bitch.
Yeah.
Look, I went all the way down to Florida, like with a carload. Now in the South, we get a real bad hurricane season. So most people know you don't run shows at outside shows at certain points of the year. So we're going all the way to Florida during hurricane season, okay, for this show. Promoter,
Oh, no.
like, oh no, there's a hurricane. What are we gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Pay me.
But right, I'm here for a show, so the show must go on. So they move it inside. We still do the show. After the show, everybody's waiting, and this guy was a pretty cool guy. He had booked over like half the talent from out of state, and it was a great diverse card. He had really put a lot of promotion into it, but you could tell that the money was just not going where it was supposed to go. So there was a van load of boys from Georgia that had come down under the auspice that they would have to pay to ride in the van since the trains would be taken care of, but they would be getting paid at the show. So, you know, they would be breaking even. And we all did that, you know, taking lesser pay coming up just to get an opportunity. So we're all waiting after the show to get paid, waiting to get paid. I'm not going to lie, guys. I was already 2 rum buckets deep. Okay. I got out of the ring and I hit the bar. Okay. So, I mean, they were giving out little buckets of rum. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I'm like, whatever. So I'm in the corner twerking with my homegirl, drinking out of her bucket, my bucket, and the other one I had. So technically that was 3 buckets. And, you know, all of a sudden I see a super tall wrestler from Georgia, like, he's getting real, you know, aggressive hand motion, like he's on the basketball court. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? So, yeah. So I go over and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And so a wrestler from AEW was there. We had written down together. Another wrestler from the Maryland area was there, and they were like, the promoter doesn't have any of the money, and this van load of boys from Georgia is about to beat his ass. Okay? The Money Mark had spent $2,400 on a bunch of posters and flyers and things that did not get put up and couldn't be put up outside because they moved the show inside. So they spent all this money and we're basing it on the door, okay? He said to call our carload in, and he was like, we're going to pay you guys, but we really can't pay any of these other boys, and, you know, I don't want them Negroes from Georgia getting on me.
Oh.
Damn.
And so it was at that moment where I made that decision. You talked about whether I was going to let him die or if I was going to save this man's life. And I honestly think I made the right decision. You know, I went and talked to the boys. I told them, look, I don't know how much he promised you, but we're going to get you some money. I had the AEW wrestler guard one door. I had the other wrestler guard another door. And I had another wrestler guard the Money Mark's girlfriend. And I sent him to the bank. Oh, I don't play. Okay? She didn't get to go anywhere until he came back with the money. And he went and withdrew everything out of his bank account. I mean, this mofo was getting his savings. Okay?
Good.
And I made the promoter tell me how much it was for each of the boys, and I got it as close to that as possible. Even after all of that, he was still short. And our car had to give some of the boys money because he didn't have his stuff together. But in these instances, everybody's, oh, yay, wonderful, you did something for the business. That's great. So where is my actual respectable booking when the time comes for it? Do you see what I'm saying? We are expected to take a lot of that type of stuff and just be okay with it. And then the onus is on us to do our marketing, find these opportunities, travel for no money, not get reimbursed, deal with racism, deal with misogyny, deal with sexism, deal with being turned down for stupid reasons, have people who have little or no talent be put over us just because they don't think we can draw because we're black. That's a hard pill to swallow often, you know? And I really believe that with what's happening in our world, that things can shift. But again, it falls back to people really examining themselves. Because if at any point you've seen the riots and been like, oh, they shouldn't be doing that, then you need to examine yourself. If at any point you question what happened to George Floyd, you need to examine yourself. If at any point you didn't understand why it was so monumental, why so many people were crying when Kofi won, you have to examine yourself, because that means there's something in you that's blocking you from seeing the bigger picture and from being able to integrate true equality and equity into your life, into your vocabulary, and into your mindset. Because again, we've all been conditioned. There are black people that hate black people.
Yeah.
So we've all been conditioned in the same way. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to get those negative thoughts and that really deep hatred out of yourself, but it's also hard to get that out of the business that we love. And it starts with people understanding that it's already in us, and it's up to you to eradicate it. It is not up to your wrestler of color or your black or white or, you know, your partner of color to take away those things, because just because you're with a person of color does not mean you're not racist. And I love hearing that in the business. Oh, well, his girlfriend's black, or he's dating a black girl. Okay, and he still said I was pretty for a colored girl. So these are things that it's a long-term process. I don't even think this conversation is going to start because it's something that's been going on for a long time. But I do think that the people watching this really take to heart that it's up to you to really help us to continue this journey, because we cannot do it alone, because we've tried. Right. And this is where we are.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to cast a critical eye on the promotions that you're watching. And if you recognize that there is something amiss, don't be afraid to contact that promotion and ask them a question. And if you don't like the answer to the question, you don't like the answer that you get, or the non-answer that you get, or the answer that you don't get, you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to say, okay, well, I'll spend my money somewhere else. Because, I mean, Ronnie, you are absolutely right. This is not a thing that we do alone. This is absolutely not a thing that we do alone. This is absolutely a thing that we need, the intelligence and the compassion and the willingness to participate of white people, okay, to help us. Yeah. To help us. This is, I mean, you got a 400-year head start on us. I knew that would pop Ronnie. You got a 400,
time to make up for it.
You got a 400-year head start on us. Don't be afraid to help us catch up.
Right.
We need your help to catch up.
Yeah, we do. Send the car back.
So anybody want to? I seem to have taken over. Anybody want to say anything to wrap this up, or?
No, I'm just grateful for the platform and the opportunity to discuss this and to get it out there. I mean, like, yeah, some of this shit's uncomfortable, but it's good to be able to discuss it. It's good for people to be able to see it and hear it. It's good for us to come together as people of color and work together for bettering things for ourselves and other people. I mean, just basic common sense, basically.
Yeah. This was a perfect example of the allyship that I just mentioned, because it wasn't one of the four of us that came up with this idea and said, this is what we're going to do tonight. This was an idea brought to us by our Caucasian friends who said, this is a subject that we would like to talk about. Will you participate? So, yeah, absolutely. If we're given the forum,
too, because like they didn't have a lot of necessarily input. They just kind of let us just like shoot the shit in a sense. But like it's also a learning opportunity for them and for us, just to get it out there. Like I said before, so I'm for it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like honestly, this conversation, it really hit the soul. Like it really did, and like just discussing like people like talking to people with like similar experiences, like learning from all of you guys and being, getting questions answered, because we all see things sometimes a little bit differently or experience different things. It's good to learn from each other. I'm glad I got a chance to learn from you guys, and hope everyone listening and watching, hope y'all, biggest thing, y'all should have walked out and learned something from this too, and, besides me saying, like 5 times.
I think we've all learned. I think we've all learned that Ronnie Nicole is one of the smartest people any of us know.
Oh my God! Shut up.
I'd have a drink with Ronnie.
Damn! Don't just take the compliment, woman. It's true.
Because there are people much smarter than me that have poured this into me and helped me learn. Because I was one of those people. I was raised pretty much to hate everything black.
Yeah.
Just because if you did, that was looked at as respectable. So I've had to excavate a lot of stuff out of myself in order to get to this point of loving and understanding myself as a Black woman and standing in support of my, my Black brothers and other people of color, because it's not something that we're taught to do, and I do want to say to all of our white allies and to any white people watching, Black Lives Matter does not mean white people don't matter. This movement is nothing to do with being more Black and being like anti-white. That's not what is being said at all.
Right.
It's really more about bringing awareness and understanding to a problem that has existed before all of us. And it is the opportunity for us to listen to each other and make real change moving forward so that this cycle doesn't repeat itself. My mom watched riots and my grandmother watched riots. That doesn't seem like a whole lot of progress, and I'm only 33. You know what I mean? So it's not saying that white people, it's your job, fix this problem. You put us in chains, it's time for you to break them. No. But we are saying, please listen, please be an ally, and please have an open heart to understand that we do live different lives, but at the end of the day, all we want is to live a peaceful life together. So.
I just want to say thank you to each of you.
Ms. Nicole, thank you.
Had the courage to share your stories, to share your experiences. Thank you, for just for everything.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It was a really incredible, passionate show, and to piggyback off of what Ronnie said about Black Lives Matter, they're not saying only Black Lives Matter. What they're saying is Black Lives Matter too. We'll see you next week.